It's Stanley Cup time, and where I live, everyone is talking about hockey. Even people like me who are not big hockey or even big sports fans are paying attention to what's happening, talking about the teams, and making sports analogies. In our Western culture, sports analogies are embedded in our language, and they're used regularly in business conversations and many other transactions. Recently, a client and I were discussing a really important issue, and we both used a sports analogy to describe and explain what was happening. We used a sports analogy despite, and we noted that too, that neither of us followed sports. It got me to thinking about the use of sports language, especially during organizational change. I could see the advantages, but I also started to think about where aligning too closely with sports could pose some potential pitfalls for your change efforts. Hello, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Dawn Marie Turner, President of Turner Change Management and creator of the Readiness Mindset. In many ways, the sports analogies make sense. I can see why we use them. When we think of sports, we usually think of focus, teamwork, discipline, motivation, coaching, and training. Everything that's needed to enable your business and healthy and sustainable organizational change. Yet, as my client and I discovered, these analogies have their limitations, and too close an alignment could derail your change efforts. Change is not about winning or losing. It's about growth and responsiveness. When it comes to transformation, most of us can relate to the underdog team that transforms itself and wins the championship. Like when the Toronto Raptors basketball team surprised everyone and won the 2019 NBA championship. There's only one goal in sports: to win. Everyone's energy is focused on beating the competition and taking home the prize. But applying this same win versus lose focus, pushing through people's resistance as if it were the competition, will cause more harm than good to your change efforts. Your organizational change efforts shouldn't be about winners or losers. Healthy and sustainable change is about growth. It's about adding value, staying relevant, and responding instead of reacting to a dynamic environment. Each change that you enable in your organization should make it stronger and your employees healthier and more capable of handling and responding to future changes. Although focusing solely on winning is not the right strategy for approaching change, having a clear, concrete, and concise outcome story is necessary. When you work with your team to define your outcome story and then focus on building the readiness instead of managing the resistance, you can use change to create value and long-term success well beyond any one single change initiative. Organizational change takes time. Okay, I'll admit it. I've been known to start watching a game, get frustrated, maybe even a little bored, and fast forward or only watch the last period or inning to get the final score. Then I say, I watched the game. The same thing can happen with organizational change. You think the change is taking too long, or you believe people are resistant to the change. You want to fast forward to the end, speed up the process. And as a result, you push a little harder for people to act before they're ready. Expect more. Maybe you lose a little patience, label people as resistant to change, add new people, bench others. You try to speed up the process. But instead of helping, the additional pressure makes things worse and can slow down your change efforts. the added stress doesn't help because of a phenomenon called time compression diseconomies. A big word. Frank Vermeulen states that time compression diseconomies occurs when organizations try to compress lots of effort and growth into a short period of time. But exerting twice the effort or resources doesn't mean you'll get twice the benefits. Change takes time. Often it takes more time than you think it should or you want it to take. Our movement through the change process isn't about who gets there first and fastest. It's a human process. And yes, there's a predictable pattern, but moving through it is more like a dance than a march. And it takes time for people to let go, build their readiness, and to normalize those new activities and behaviors for the long-term sustainability and achievement of your outcome. Instead of pushing harder, you need to actively engage throughout the change process, adjusting the time and aligning the pace with the people's readiness to adopt those new activities and behaviors. Sports is embedded in our language. Sports metaphors help frame many of the things we see and create a shared understanding. For example, when launching a new initiative or product, you might say, let's hit this one out of the park. Or to a colleague who's just done a fantastic job and wowed your best client, you might say, that was a slam dunk. Many sports metaphors are so embedded to our language, especially in North America, that we may not even realize that they were sports metaphors. For example, did you know that up to scratch comes from track and field, or in pole position is from car racing? Our language shapes the way we perceive and interpret our world. It can invite and include us and help build the commitment needed for people to act. And so although a sports analogy can easily create that picture, it can also exclude people. Not everyone may be familiar with the terminology, a sports fan, or have a positive experience in a particular sport. It's helpful to check in. Do people understand the reference? Does it create the picture you intended? Are they feeling left out because they don't know the sport or aren't fans? Change, healthy, sustainable change that will grow your organization requires knowledge and skills to build that capability within your organization. And this is one area where leaders can take a lesson from sports, and that's their emphasis on practice and learning. Every coach of every sport ensures that every player makes practice time as necessary as the game. Nancy Katz, an associate professor at Harvard Business School, notes in her research on the liabilities and lessons of sports teams for workplace teams that one lesson managers can take from sports is to make time and space for learning deliberately. She notes that during a game, the team is in performance mode. At practice, they are in learning mode. And it is in the practice mode that innovation, experimentation, and testing of new ideas can occur. Another area is when a team or player is not doing well, coaches will often double down on practice time. They go back to basics and train more with more focus to increase strengths and decrease weaknesses. Many business leaders do the opposite. As revenues and performance decrease, they cut people, suspend, or eliminate leadership development budgets and training opportunities. In a time of rapid change, you need to ensure that you have people at every level of your organization that feel confident, capable, and have the knowledge and skills to support and enable change. This requires not just training, but also the time and space to practice, learn, and hone those skills. How has a sport or maybe a sport analogy influenced your change efforts? Right in the comment section below. I hope you found this video helpful. That's it for now. I'll see you again soon. Bye.